Okay, we'll just wait for a minute and then we'll start.
एकच मिनिटात.
Okay, I'll start the session now. So, Rajendra, I'll just take 5 minutes. I'll just introduce and go
No
through the
problem.
code of conduct, and then I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
So, yes. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining on time and helping us starting this session on time. So, uh, this session is presented to you by Microsoft Fabric User Group Pune. It's a new group. So earlier there, this group was already there, but there were hardly any sessions being conducted. So since June, I have taken over this group and I have started conducting sessions for all of you. So this is an open community. There can be where we are conducting sessions on Microsoft Power BI and Fabric. We are open to your suggestions. Anything that you want us to cover, anything that you want us to change, let us know. We can kind of work on it. Since this is an open community, so Microsoft has issued certain code of conduct that we need to follow as part of this community. So that is what I'll just quickly cover. Okay, so basically the Microsoft Fabric User Group Pune is the community that we are using, and that where this session is being conducted. So these are 5 principles that Microsoft community has to follow. So we have to be friendly and welcoming. We all come from different backgrounds, so yes, there can be different I would say levels that we are at, and there can be different type of domains that we have worked on. So we should be welcoming, we should be friendly. Okay, we should try to understand how someone is trying to ask the question. Patient, since there are a lot of folks in this group, so there can be multiple questions. So I'll try to answer it in the chat window. If I am not able to answer it, I'll hand it over to Rajendra, who will try to answer your questions. So please be patient with this. Okay, be thoughtful of how others interpret your words. So yes, please be thoughtful. Please help us conducting in this session in proper way. If we are not able to answer something, let us know. We'll try to answer it in a better way. Okay, be respectful and inclusive. There are some people who have recently joined this analytics industry. There are people who are in the industry from 10 to 15 years. So let's be respectful, let's be inclusive, open and curious. Yes, let's be open and curious. Okay, let's try to learn something new, let's try to present something new. Okay, let's try to bring something to this table. It can be anything, technical, non-technical, anything. Okay, moving on to the next part. I'll not go through these details. Okay, I'll just cover the not acceptable behaviors. So these are the not acceptable behaviors that we have, that Microsoft says that we should follow. We should not follow. We should not harass anyone. We should not post any offensive comments. We should not I would say disrupt the workshops. Be patient. Okay, and the other things are already mentioned in this slide. Okay, so with this, I will hand it over to Rajendra. So Rajendra has 15 plus years of experience in overall 15 plus years of experience in IT industry. He is a Microsoft certified trainer. He is also Microsoft data platform MVP. So he has renewed his Microsoft MVP platform validation this week itself. So congratulations for that. He is a well-known speaker in Microsoft Fabric and Power BI community. So today he's going to cover the Fabric warehouse and the T-SQL part, which is an interesting part because we see a lot of development in this area from Microsoft side. Okay, so let's hear it out from Rajendra side. So Rajendra, over to you. Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Praful. Good morning, everyone. Hope my voice is audible.
Yes, Rajendra.
I'm sharing my screen as well. Let me know once it is visible to you.
Yeah, I can see.
Is it clear?
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much, Praful, and all the best for your community as well. So, expecting a lot of sessions and as well as my participation as well. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining on the Sunday. So I know it's hectic, but as per the schedules, right? So though you joined these many people's, right? I'm happy for that. And today's activity, we are going to discuss about transforming data with transactional SQL in Microsoft Fabric. So already Praful explained about myself. I'm Rajendra Ongole. I'm a 3 times recently renewed my Microsoft MVP as well, data platform side and Microsoft certified trainer. And if you want to reach out to me, you can scan that QR code and happy to help you if anything related to the Fabric or Power BI related topics. So this concept, right? Transforming data with T-SQL, SQL part, how we are going to load the data into the Fabric warehouse, that part we are going to discuss. So maybe whoever not aware Microsoft Fabric, already a lot of guys, a lot of sessions are there in YouTube channels as well. So you can go through it, just understand what about the Microsoft Fabric. But here I'm taking one particular workload that is warehouse related. So how we are going to load the data into the lakehouse, and even if possible, I'm going to explain about the lakehouse and one lake as well, the differentiation. And from one lake or lake houses related, how we are going to get it, read the data and load it into the warehouses. That part we are going to discuss via transaction SQL part. So some queries I have already framed it out, so which will be help you to load the data and as well as to read the data from the warehouse analysis part, and what kind of an activities like a selecting commands, or maybe if you want to delete the tables, how we are going to delete the tables, what are the functionalities and feasibilities that are available, we will discuss in detail. So last 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, I have a plan to give a demo as well, so that it is very easy for you to grab the topic. And maybe if you are planning to do the similar kind of an activity as a part of POCs and so on, it is very helpful. So these are the topics that we are going to cover. Why transaction SQL for the data ingestion part. So completely, I'm using the T-SQL, transaction SQL, the structured query language for data ingestion part, because once the data has been cleansed, you have to read the data row by row. These are all the things we're aware of it. The data will be in a completely structured operations. So with the help of structured information, how these queries, we are going to write it, or maybe if there is no tables are available, how we are going to create the new tables. This part we will discuss about it. And along with that, monitoring. So if you're working like you're creating some tables, or if your queries are taking longer time, longer duration for execution, you will get to know some kind of a monitoring alerts. So where we are going to check those alerts, how we are going to check those monitoring activities and so on, that part also we are going to discuss about it. And cross-ware data warehousing, so from warehouse lake houses the data will be get it available, how we are going to trigger and execute those queries via warehouse part. That part also I'm going to discuss, followed up with live demo. Let's try to understand first data warehouse concepts. As I said, we'll come from the basics. Okay. After that, we'll slowly move on to the lakehouse creation, and from lakehouse, how we are going to fetch or inject the data to the lake warehouses and so on, we will discuss. See here, Fabric data warehouse is a relational databases. Everyone aware of it. It's completely relational structured information where TSQL, transaction SQL will be get a trigger. You can write all, create a statement or select statement, inserting the data into it. Even it will works for the stored processes as well. Via stored process CTEs commands, we can also execute and process it. And the data will be get it stored on a data storage part in an optical layer, like optimized and the analytics part. After that, the data will be get it processed for the next part of the consumption. Like maybe I want to utilize for the quick ad hoc report building, or maybe want to derive some advanced statistical analysis via machine learning models. From there, we can process it and we can consume the data for the next workloads like machine learning models and so on. Maybe assume that I'm a data analyst. I want to consume the data for the analytical part. Like in such kind of a scenario, I'm going to query the data, and maybe if I want to perform some transformations, I can process the data for the next further transformations as well. Like that, we will also deliver those quick insights, or maybe if you want to deliver the insights from the data warehouse to the Power BI, automatically from that layer data warehouse, we can store the information, and from there we can connect this particular tables or information to the Power BI layer as well. So to showcase these business insights to the global customers. Let's try to understand about Fabric Warehouse. If you're observing, the complete data will be getting resides on one lake. You can create as per the project on the workspace basis. Workspace, again, I'm just giving a quick recap. Whoever not aware of the workspace, is a repository to store your data content like your semantic models, your dashboards, your warehouse, lake houses, and so on in a cloud-based environment, which works as a SaaS application, SaaS related software as a systems. So here, workspace B, same like that, like houses, warehouses, semantic models, your dashboards, or maybe if you want to build your data science related projects, everything will be getting resided in one lake. One lake is assume that one lake is going to consider in the form of OneDrive, where you can have a separate dedicated folders, and inside each and every folder, you can see these specifications are these workloads, like for each and every workspace related. So it will be get it consumed as a single layer for data warehouses, or maybe I want to consume the data for the lake house, you can consume it, or maybe the KQL for the real-time data analytics part. If you're working on a streaming source system, you can also work with the KQL, Crystal Query Language dataset part, and Power-based semantic models as well, and so on. So completely it is a SaaS application, SaaS based, and fully supported with T-SQL statements as well, whenever we are trying to execute the commands via data warehouse or lake houses and so on. So still there is a perception like Parquet file format. This is how the files will be getting stored on your lake houses. Delta, instead of calling it as a Parquet file format, I'm going to call it as a Delta Parquet file format. So there are two important concepts here. Delta is something like for the schema designing part, as well as for time traveling or else transactional logs to get it stored. Maybe if you want to see the historical information, the data will be very helpful to track it and to check that how much utilization has been happened. Parquet file format is something like is a new concept where, I mean, whoever not aware of the Parquet file format, the data will be getting resides inside the storage in the form of Parquet file format. That instead of storing the data in a row by row fashion, this data with the help of this Parquet file format, it will be get it reside in the form of columnar storage, which will be, if you're working in the big data analytics, the data will be very huge. Instead of storing the data in a row by row fashion, Parquet file format will be very beneficial for the faster executions or scalability and so on. That data will be get it read in the form of an columnar storage format here. So that's the simple terms where you will get to know there is a delta file Parquet file format in the sense. Delta in some such kind of a scenarios, you can see the historical information, time traveling related activities like as per the data. And Parquet file format is something like you can see the data will be getting resides instead of a row manner. You can see the data in a columnar fashion. All the column level headers will be read it in the first column itself. Like that, data will be getting read in a columnar storage activities. But still have some queries, please post your queries as well. I'm happy to help you. So how can we create the data warehouse? So first of all, if you want to create this data warehouse in Microsoft Fabric, we need a proper licenses. So first, maybe if you want to work with the Prevost kind of a things, you can activate some trial accounts as well, like which is going to valid for some 60 days trial accounts. After, right, 3 to 4 times Microsoft, they are going to continue renew your trial accounts. After three times apart, you have to purchase, or else you have to go for the F2 kind of a license. Currently, I am also using the similar kind of a license. After consumption of 3 times trial activity, I'm currently using the lowest capacity of SKUs F2. So first we need to get it have a Fabric license, Microsoft Fabric, Maybe if you're trying on your own, you can use the first time with that, a trial account. So you can create directly the warehouse related topics, which is going to be one of the workload in your Fabric. You have to navigate, first of all, a dedicated workspace. And from there, you have to search for the new item or the new workload name called warehouse. Whenever, because most of the times, if you are creating the warehouse means the data will be completely structured where we are going to execute commands, T-SQL statements, right? Like a creation or insert or delete or update or drop the table and so on. You have to provide a dedicated naming standard for the warehouse so that it is easy for you to track what kind of a warehouses you have created for this kind of a dedicated projects. So make sure that even if there is already one existing warehouses are available, you can also import those warehouses into the warehouse creations part. That part also I'm going to showcase to you while working on a demo level. Maybe just try to understand some basic concepts here. Whenever if you're trying to design a data warehouse, there should be two types of important terminologies, fact tables and dimension tables. Simple terms, fact table is something like contains a numerical or metric related information where you're going to analyze the data like sales amount or cost related like cost products, or maybe if it is working on a quantity related quantities and so on. These are all comes under the numeric measures, metric level information, and it's going to typically store the larger amount of data. And it's a fact table is always going to maintain a foreign key related where you have to map it between primary key to the fact tables. Like fact table is going to store the foreign keys and dimension table is going to store the primary keys. Like that example, as I said, sales amount, these are all comes under the fact related stuff. Like maybe if you're working on in our current example also, I'm going to consider the sales table, which is having the some metric related information along with some categorical stuff as well, which is a combination. So dimension table is going to have the consumption of a descriptive data, or you can see the categorical information, which will be get connect directly from your dimension table to the fact table. Sometimes we will also call in my real time and in our real time environment, lookup tables too. So dimension table is going to have the less number of records compared with the fact tables. Like maybe fact table is having millions of records, dimension table is going to have the categorical data, right, which we can have to report or we have to give the data points accurately based on some categorical stuff as per the derived definition languages. So dimension table is going to include, as I said, surrogate key as an alternative key other than the primary key concept too. So make sure that alignment part Fabric data warehouse contains to store your all your analytical needs. These are the types of tables, dimension table as well as fact tables. Few more additional information, dimension related, time related. Maybe if you're working on a date related table, there should be an year, month, quarter, like a hierarchical part, we can define it. We can also see or work on the time intelligence related functionalities. Slowly changing dimension is something like maybe there are multiple option approaches are there. So SCD type 1, type 2, type 3, and so on. So most of the time we are going to use the SCD type 2, where you have to maintain the, if you're working with a very big data part, data analytics part, you have to track the older changes as well as the current data stuff to track both of it, current plus historical data. Most of the projects we will try to define within slowly changing SCD type 2. So SCD type 1 is something like which is going to maintain only the current data, not the historical. It is going to terminate or else it is going to replicate on the top of the existing data. That is nothing but a SCD type 1. But most of the projects we will try to execute with an SCD type 2 here to track, or else maybe example, right? If you want to see some sales analysis for the last 2 years back and current year comparison, such kind of a scenario, we need to maintain some historical informations to track and to maintain the addresses. Like example, as I mentioned, customer address. Maybe they have changed recently, or maybe I want to find out the older addresses. Such kind of a scenario, you have to maintain CD type 2, type 2. So maintain the history plus current data. So whenever you are implementing, make sure that there is a dedicated column or loading date or loading timestamp column should be there to track those changes with the, I mean, on your table part. Once you have loaded the table, you have to make sure that the table should be having something like a new loading date time timestamp to maintain the historical or tracking information for the older data with current data stuff, so that it is easy for you whenever you are trying to do the front end part data visualization to track the changes and provide the informations accordingly. So special types of dimensions it is. So time dimension or conformal dimension also we will call it, and slowly changing dimension is something like to track the changes for the current plus historical changes too. Still, whoever new to this Microsoft Fabric, I just want to share you something here. One lake and one lake houses. Anyway, we are going to create the data warehouse concept inside the Microsoft Fabric. Please try to understand. One lake is again storaging part. Whenever if you are working on a big data storage part for all your Fabric needs, you are not going to work with one particular workload there. You're going to create the lake houses, or maybe as per the project definitions, you can create some advanced data science related projects or real-time streaming data source systems as well. For every project, there should be if you're working on a Fabric related, there should be one dedicated one lake. So in the simpler terms, one lake is going to be a building, right? Inside, you can create multiple lake houses as per the project, which look like a rooms kind of a setup. So every workspace, we can save the data there. You can see the hierarchy as well. Whenever the lakehouses has been created, you can see the SQL Analytics endpoint as well to read only kind of an activity. You cannot perform any kind of deletion of the tables and so on in the lakehouses, but it's going to be read only kind of an approach. So you can see the data, but you can also select the data, right? These kind of terminologies will be helpful whenever the lakehouse part has been created. So lake houses, it going to hold any type of a structure, like it's going to accept unstructured like raw files, or maybe if you are working on an IoT related data stuff, it will be get it accept like JSON files, XML files, and so on. Tables, which we will call it as an organized or managed, that is the term we will use it, managed related data, which is completely acceptable data, like a structured information, like a rows and columns are really appear. We can easily take the decisions by next further layers like semantic model development and reporting part. And if you're observing the one lake here, one lake is going to consume all your data. And maybe whenever if you need the further analysis, or maybe if you want to consume the data, you can consume it to the lake houses, and further you can proceed with the other layers as well. The main motto here, whenever if you are working on a Microsoft Fabric, to avoid data duplications and also maintain the consistency of the data, what type of an information you are working under, the shareable part, the main important thing, how we are sharing this related data to the end users. So there are multiple like accessing part permissions too. Like maybe if you want to provide a real one lake related access, there is a different segregations like a read all, read data, read mode data, read data modes. So multiple approaches. We have to get it configure and provide an access accordingly, so that specifically whenever if you are sharing your analysis to the further layers like lake houses or data warehouses to consume your existing information, it is very beneficial. Instead of deduplications, that is the main motto here. Fine. Why you use T-SQL to move your data? As I said, there are a lot of approaches to move your data to the warehouses, but most of the times, if your data is completely structured, you can make use of the T-SQL, or even we can create the views on the top of it, which is some virtual tables on the top of it, and to get it created, which will be something like for the raw data part, which you are extracting from the lakehouses. It's easy for you to track, and optimizations part as well. It is easy for you to load it further and re-execute for your further layers and so on. You can copy it easily, and it will also performs all kind of an CTEs, create table name as select kind of an approach. CTA stands for create table. You have to provide the dedicated table name there. And after the execution, if you want to create and select some information, you can also use select statements as well, so that it is easy for you to track and load. Okay, once the data is being made it visible and available, on the top of it, we can also see the information accordingly. So make sure that whenever if you are loading the data to the lakehouse, you are going to use CTEs kind of a command prompts while executing these. It supports all kind of an activities like that's what I said, creating the tables or delete, or maybe if you want to insert the data, you can load it and so on, right? So make sure that if you're working on it, just try to cross-verify and make use of it. Even stored procedure content also, we can execute on the small piece of executions too. As I said, multiple approaches. There are some simple ways is like create first the table with some naming standard. That is a DBO is going to be the schema name. Sales 2023 is one of the table, and try to call it as in select star so that you can see the result as well instantly. And another way is if you want to insert the data, insert into the table, select, and then you can see the instant results on the top of the executed or the loaded information inside the data warehouses. So I'm going to showcase to you practically instead of discussing these terminologies. As I said, I'm already framed some of the questions, queries as well, which will be very easy for you to track and execute at your end as well. What we will do, what are the data sources, how we are going to execute it. So as I said, you can directly, once the workspace is being created on your Fabric trial capacities, you can directly create the warehouses, or maybe if you want to, if your data is completely maybe semi-structured or unstructured, you can create your lake houses and follow a Mendelian architecture, like a bronze layer is true for raw data, or maybe the processed information is going to be the silver data, or if ready to go for the business insights is going to be the golden layer. This kind of a layer alignment also we can do it in Microsoft Fabric, but there are many ways to copy your data directly. If your data is completely structured, you can copy directly to the warehouse itself instead of creating these another tasks and so on. So lakehouse tables, suppose example for today's activity, I'm going to showcase to you first, my data is going to be a semi-structure, which is having some file kind of an approach. I'm going to execute first the lakehouse creation, and from there, I will be get it point that particular lakehouse to the warehouse by using my lakehouse dot dbo dot sales table and so on. Like that, I can proceed with the file storage systems too. Maybe if you are working with an unstructured or packet kind of a file format, open row set, which is very important. Maybe if you're planning for the DP600 related certification, open row set is an command which will be get it execute anywhere CSV packet file format to open it and to execute the rows, execute or pull the files into the file.csvs, whatever the file it is, either it is a CSV or any kind of a file format like a JSON file format. We can use this open row set. These are the various variety of approaches to copy the data directly via warehouse creation. If your data is completely structured, if your data is something like semi-structured, you can create a lakehouse, and from there you can inject the data to the warehouse. That is the current method which we are going to do it today. And file source systems, we can directly inject maybe the open row set and do some advanced analytics by using Spark engines and so on.
We have one
Yes,
question here on the CTS. I think you can cover this. I think the
yes.
question was related to CTS only, that will the CTS create another copy of the data file? So I think this
Not
slide
like
will
that.
cover it.
No.
Yeah, yeah,
No, this slide will be helpful, very helpful there.
yeah.
So CTAs create table as, that's what I said, right? Table name as select statements. So for warehouse, I just provided some simple examples. My lake house. Maybe if your data resides in a lake house part, you have to call your lake house dot DB is going to be your schema and then sales table. And anyway, you're trying to filter with the data with the 2023, like that file storage systems too. So in such similar kind of a manner for the lake house or file storage, it will be very helpful. On the right hand side, you can see for the table building, that is new table building, you're going to use the create table, select whatever the table columns that are going to execute are also available in the table level. From statement where the data is coming from, and filter in the data where statement which you are going to use it. So make sure that whenever if you are using these commands, right, you can execute split off the information, like instead of when you're writing the statements, right, multiple queries, make sure that IntelliSense also will be very helpful while writing the statements so that you can easily prompt it and you can execute those queries in the whenever the query prompt will be get it appear. I will showcase to you how it will be look and feel. And coming to the insert and select statements, similar kind of an approaches. If you are unwanted columns are there, make sure that if there is any new data will be get it added and so on. The empty or else null information will be get it rated as a null data there. So make sure that these kind of an error informations will be get it tracked down on each and every tabs. I mean, once you are executing the query layer. So And where once you can created that warehouse part, right? I will showcase to you where we are going to track that errors and so on, so that it is easy to track the information. And you are trying to replace the data or else existing data part. You just try to cross verify what kind of a statements you are executing, insert or maybe on the duplicate deduplications part. Make sure that you are executing the right data in a single time. And also my experience part, I just want to share it with you. Once you execute the table statements, right, you wait for some time. So to get it visible, the data into your table level, the warehouse creation part, whether you're creating the table or a dedicated schema, where you are creating that, as I mentioned, right, DB is going to be a dedicated schema here. Or maybe if you want to create your own staging layer as a set, if you're following something like ACT Type 2 level activities, most of the times we will create the staging layer for temporary purpose, and EDW schema is for historical maintenance part for history plus current data.
I think you're on mute, Rajendra.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you now. Thank you.
Yeah.
I can hear you. Yeah, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. I will showcase to you this part. Okay, please focus whenever we're projecting the demo part. So this is how the terminology we will place it whenever you are, as I mentioned, you are not limited to one particular warehouse or one lake house. You can point to the lake house. If you're calling the data from a lake house, you have to specifically call that lake house name, and then specify the schema that which whatever the schema. In warehouses, you can create your dedicated schemas to, as I mentioned, staging schema for temporary data or current data, historical data to maintain the historical data, EDW schema, enterprise data warehouse, schema for historical plus current changes, and table information. And a very important thing, we will execute lot of commands, the select statements, or you inserting the data. You have to cross verify. There is a monitoring tab to check if there is any shorter term queries or longer execution queries is taking some time. So there is a monitoring window. You can easily get it tracked, these long executed commands, how much time has been taken, including with the timestamp, and how many number of records. Even we can try to view the definition, how the execution has been happen and so on. And you can spot if there is any slow running of your queries too. These are all for the fixing part, why it is taking much time duration for the executions and so on. To track the changes, there is a monitoring hub so that you can track it like a short running queries, long running queries, still if it is running, and how much duration has been taken. Still, is there any way to optimize the queries and so on? We can track it via monitoring hub once you created the data warehouse. Fine. This is important, this slide. As I mentioned, there are multiple approaches. You can copy the data, that is inject the data via directly T-SQL, which we are going to cover for today. You can perform the joins on the top of it if the data is completely structured, or aggregate to the data, or reshaping. Still, if you want to do something on the top of the data, adding the new columns, delete, and so on, we can perform via T-SQL. Copy data commands, if you are working on a simple, I mean, like a storage content part, if you can also copy the data into it, pipelines, via pipelines, you can run it. And even if you are very familiar with the low code platforms like a Dataflow Gen 2s on online Power Query editor, you can also simply drag and drop. That's what I said, low code platform. You can simply drag and drop and perform the visual level changes, like removing the unwanted columns, or maybe the simplest approaches. Okay, that's what I just want to share it with you. Or if you are very good and familiar with the ADFs, Azure Data Factories, you can also use the pipeline building and execute and create the parameters for advanced calculations and so on. 6 important tips to get it remember whenever if you're working on a T-SQL part. As I said, today we are going to work on the T-SQL related for creation of the lakehouses and so on. Make sure that instead of extracting all the data, you have to get it filter the data. Try to check it, okay, by using the where conditional level standard. Like as I mentioned, order date is equal to particular year 2023 or 2021. As per the data, you can restrict it. Or maybe if you want to extract the data for a particular time, period. We can also make use of between commands and so on. And match the number of columns. Make sure that destination table should be aligned with the proper set of columns so that it is easy for you whenever if you are trying to build the data visualizations or take it forward to your semantic modeling part. And try to maintain the consistency of your queries. How much duration, if you are executing those queries like insert or else, maybe if you're performing those staging layer to the EDW framework, like as I mentioned, Medellin architecture, make sure that your queries execution runtime as well. If there is any slow jobs or slow execution queries, you can easily catch it via monitoring hub as well. So use the wildcard activity so that it is easy to track and find out the table information. Like instead of calling a specific naming standard from a categorical values, like example from a product, you can use the ampersand on both of the sides. You can find out the particular information, percentage on both of the side of a column. And naming things, naming standards are very important. Like if you are trying to calling from a lakehouse data to the warehouse, make sure that the image should be very specific. Okay, so proper naming conventions as per the business standards. So it is easy to track, and as well as you can call it for your further activities part, like creating the views, or maybe if you want to call that particular lake houses to the execution of your query, select statement, it is easy for you. So anyway, we discussed about CTEs command. Make sure that you are going to use CTEs, create table as table, and then you can insert it, or else you can also select the tables accordingly. Let's try to work on this demo part. And then if you have any queries as well, let me know on the chat as well. What we will do for today. As I said, we are going to work on a sales related stuff, sales related data, which is going to have 31,000 plus records. Before that, what we will do as a part of our warehouse creation from the Microsoft Fabric, you are going to create workspace. For that, as I said, mandatorily we need Fabric trial account. So with the Power BI Pro license and so on, it is not going to work out. So make sure that you are going to activate the Pro trial account for 60 days, valid for 60 days, or maybe it is already over, or if you want to, if you want to use the lowest capacity of SKUs, right? Fabric capacity, you can go with the F2. That is for the testing and development related activities. If you want to test it at your end. Maybe if you need any help or support, maybe you can ping me separately. If you want this kind of activities to perform at your end, I will help you accordingly. So warehouse is required. So for that, workspace has to be created on a Fabric trial account. And warehouse, after that, before creating the warehouse, lakehouse should be created, because I'm going to work with the semi-structured data. That is the sales related stuff. And then I'm going to inject the data from the lakehouse, right? Once I'm going to inject the file source system to the lakehouse, next activity, I'm going to create the warehouse. There, as I said, I have already few other queries, very big queries it is, like from some other tables. I will explain it, what it is and how we are going to load the data from the injected sales table. Okay, and then I'm going to create some views as well. So to bridge the staging layer, from the staging layer, I have to get it loaded to the warehouse. I'm going to create some bridge views as well, and so on. Like stored procedure wise as well, I will create some of the execution command with some lot of aggregations so that it is easy for you what we are doing now. And last few of the queries, I'm going to showcase some analytical needs, like maybe I will aggregate it, I will showcase the top 10 customers or top 10 item-wise analysis and so on. On the top of the same warehouse, we will discuss how we are going to execute those statements and so on. This is what we are going to do for today. Okay, let me showcase to you this. After that, right, if you have any queries, let me know. I'm happy to take it. As I said, this is my current environment, Power BI. If you're observing, I'm using the Power BI trial only. And as I said, I already completed 3 times of renewal. So I had to go definitely this time. Fabric F2 capacity, that part also I'm showcasing to you. I'm using SQL F2 for the testing and development part. So let me, whenever you need, right, whenever if you're working on it, you can stop it. Continue the workflow. If not, you can pulse it, okay, so that it is very easy for you to track the load, as well as you can also track the costing part, how much it has been get it utilized. Currently, I'm resuming my workspace. Otherwise, right, the created workspace or else workspace activities, it's not going to work out. Okay, maybe example, currently I'm using F2 capacity, which is in a pause mode, right? I'm not resuming. If you want to create a new workspaces or new workloads from this Fabric workspace, it's not going to work out. Okay, it's asked you have to enable or else you have to turn on this particular Fabric capacity. See here, example I'm showcasing to you, test. See this? Unable to create the workspace because Fabric capacity is currently paused. So let me renew it. Continue this.
So, Rajendra, so what you have shown is the same thing which is used across enterprises also, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
enterprises
Yes,
will have to
enterprise level.
buy the
Mm.
capacity,
Three
and those
times, three
capacity
times
will
they will
be
give you. Three
okay.
times they will give you for the renewal. Currently, I'm also doing the same. Three times
Okay.
I complete it with the same tenant ID, tenant name,
Okay.
tenant
Okay.
details, and 103 is my tenant. After
Okay.
that, earlier processes multiple times they have provided, but now as per the we already raised in the MEP form as well. After three times attempts, we have to go for the F2 definitely. Yeah, with the same tenant if you are using the same tenant. That's
Okay.
what I'm currently following. Currently, I'm using the F2. Okay, with the same tenant. Again, I'm repeating. If you are using the same tenant for the multiple times, that is three times, you have to go for the next time for the F2, definitely. So I'm resuming it. Now, let me create a new workspace. This is how it looks like. Whoever familiar with the Power BI services part, anyway, we will get to open to publish the report app.powerbi.com. Or maybe if you want to directly connect to your Fabric environment, app.fabric.microsoft.com, that is also, it will work to get connect to your, I mean, to get it connected to your Azure SaaS application, that is Microsoft Fabric. So here itself, we can change from Power BI to the Fabric, or maybe if you want to create a workspaces, you can directly create. We know this is very familiar mode. We can create the new workspaces also. These are all different variety of workspaces for different projects. Let me create a new workspace. Now it will work even for the workspace creations part. Let me give the workspace name to store our, why you are creating the workspace means to store. Maybe if you are developing a report from Power BI desktop, you can publish into the cloud environment. And from there, you can provide an access and share the report to the global audience. Similar kind of a process. So to work on this Fabric related activities, topics like data warehouse, I'm going to create a warehouse and as well as a lakehouse first and so on. It's not a on-premises activities. This is going to be the cloud environment. So for that reason, I'm creating the big workspace to store my complete activities on the Fabric, like warehouse, lake houses, SQL Analytics endpoint, or maybe if you want to create some semantic models and so on. So let me create this, giving some name like DWH, something I'm giving DWH, Microsoft Fabric User Group Query. Here, currently, if you're observing Fabric, I have enabled. For first time users, right, you can activate this Fabric trial account using the smaller semantic storage format. This is how we will create workspace. And if you're observing in the corner right, Fabric content. Okay, suppose with the trial account, if you want to get it created, it looks in this way. Okay, it will not support for your Fabric related content without diamond symbol. If you are whatever you are observing here, those are all related to the Power BI Pro license related workspaces. Please keep in mind. Okay, if whatever the types of licenses that you are choosing, you can easily identify it. This is the Fabric content where I can work on variety of workloads related to the Microsoft Fabric that are supporting, right? So this is current workspace of my MFUG DWH. Fine. So once the workspace has been get created, see here on the new items part, you can see variety of the workloads. Click on this, whatever as per your requirement. Maybe you want to extract the data, you want to get it stored something. You can create the lake houses on favorites I have added. You can see on the all items part. Here, these are the variety of workloads which are visible to you. You want to get connect to the existing source systems. You want to kind of a replica of your data. You can use the mirror data here. Variety of databases it is supporting, including previews. And maybe if you want to store your data, these are all the items you can see here. Currently, as I said, I'm going to create in lake houses because I'm going to work on the semi-structured or unstructured kind of a source systems, right? Create a lake house first. We already discussed differences between lake house and one lake. Giving the name as lake house. Make sure that the naming standard should be accurate and it's easy to remember so that you can proceed it, call these lake houses or the naming standards, right? You can call for the further applications level, like in the data warehouse, whenever if you want to create some views and so on. Okay, don't give a typical names. So make sure that it is easy to remember and accurate, unique names. Lake house, sales project, sales, something like that I'm giving. Schema by default, it's a DBO schema, data object schema, and this is the workspace, right? So whenever if you're creating the lakehouse on the left hand side, you can see two types of folders, one for managed work files, managed, and another is for the unmanaged source systems. So unmanaged in the sense, maybe if your data is something like a files, right? Flat files, or maybe if you want to fetch it over from via shortcuts and so on, you can use the file source system. If your data is completely structured, you can see the managed files, managed folder. So here it will be get it up here. So there are variety of approaches you can see in the center part. So whoever familiar in the Power BI part, you can extract the data from a files, or maybe if you want to check with some sample data, there are a lot of sample data that are available. You can also play with the sample tables, direct tables, and maybe if you want to get it, extract the data from an external lake houses, like uh, uh, examples like at Google Cloud Computing and so on, like Amazon S3 buckets and so on, you can make use of it, ADLS2. Or maybe if you want to work with the data extraction part from a Dataflow Gen 2, you can also make use of Dataflow Gen 2 for on-plane Power Query Editor part. Like that, one more way is you can make use of the copy activity. That's what I said, many ways to copy the data into your lake houses. Fine, what I will do in the sense, my file is available in my GitHub. So sales table it is. You can take any one also. Maybe if you want to do some practice, download. Okay. So let me try to import this. So how we are going to import it? As I said, this is the managed, which is going to be the completely structure. This is unmanaged terms. We are going to use it here. Unmanaged or semi-structured flat files, these are all comes here. This is the file. CSV is a file source system, flat file, right? So you can use this, or maybe if you want to extract multiple folders as per the project, right, from the network drive, you can also create some subfolders. If there is an option here, you can create multiple subfolders for orders, for sales, supplies, and so on, quantities, information, and so on. But as of now, one single file, I will directly upload it from this. Okay, files. You can see three horizontal ellipse button. Click on this, upload files. Maybe if you have a multiple files, you can also import it from a folder also. There is an option to extract the information via folder too. Let me look on the downloads. Sales table is the name I have provided. Uploaded. Simple. You can also see how much time it is taking here. 3 MB file it is. This is the file, right? And make sure that, okay, this is a CSV file, which is going to be a delimited standard, like a comma separator. And if you want to convert this particular CSV file to a managed, that's what I said, right? Structured information. From here also, there are multiple approaches. We can call from a Dataflow Gen 2s or variety of approaches to take this unstructured data to the semi-structured data to the structured format. Simplest approach is, I will showcase to you, if your file is a CSV file format, you can use the simplest approach is load data to the table as a new table via comma separator. You can see here, DBO is the by default schema. Here it is, DBO schema. Maybe if you want to give some table name changes, you can change it here also, or maybe already using the existing name, comma separator. If there is any another delimiters, we can prompt it accordingly here, the separators part. Okay, this is one way. Yeah, please go ahead. Unmute yourself, you can ask your question.
Yeah, Chetan, if you have any questions, you can ask now.
Please, your question. It will take some time, okay? Because I'm using the lowest capacity F2, but most of the organizations, they will go for the, as per the data, their data, they will go for the F64 and so on above that. Okay. So you can see my table is available and how much duration has been taken also, it is visible to you, right? And a few more important things that I just want to share it here. Once the tables are visible and you want to maintain the historical information or else you want to delete the data, we have a maintenance tab there. You can use this maintenance tab to maintain, or else if there is unused files, you can remove the files from using vacuum clean. This one, okay, delta tables vacuum command here. So you can add, okay, how many days you want to make sure that this table or else this file should be available. Make sure that you can add it here. And make sure that this is already enabled, optimized command, which is important. Maybe if you're planning for DP600 certification, this optimized command will be very helpful on a V-order part for the data optimizations part. Like as I said, once the table will be get it readable on this Parquet file format, Parquet is a columnar storage. You can see the backend log files, delta log files, transaction log files, along with your data in the form of Parquet file format, that is a columnar storage. So this is by default enabled. Optimized is for the optimization, data optimization. And if you want to remove the data tables for more than 7 days, 20 days, like that we will maintain, right? So there is an option name called vacuum command, will be very helpful to remove the unused or else unreferenced files. Okay, you can run it or else you can also schedule it accordingly. Fine. This is how the table looks like. So what I did currently, I have extracted the data via files and converted that semi-structured data to the structured via this comma separated label, right? From here to this. So like that, you can create multiple folders. That's what also we can discuss. So whenever, please keep in mind, once you created the lakehouse, automatically, if you can navigate back to the workspace, automatically there is an SQL Analytics endpoint as well will be get it created on the top of it. Okay, you can visualize the queries and you can perform some more data transformations on the top of it. Or maybe if you want to execute how many number of records and so on, you can also perform those activities too from this SQL Analytics endpoint. But read-only activities, read-only permissions will be there on the top of it. You can perform, not like a delete or create a new tables and so on, will not work out on this SQL Analytics endpoint. Let me navigate back to this and showcase to, here it is. See here, SQL Analytics endpoint. If you can click on this, it looks like a similar as like most of us familiar with SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. You can see the queries folder, his securities, login details, and so on. It will be looking this way. Okay. Schema is DBO schema, views, functions, stored procedures, system designs, and so on. Here is our table. You can simply drag and drop, and you can perform few more visual, by seeing the next level of layers, right? If you want to combine the data in the form of a pictorial representation, you can perform it. Or maybe you can also make use of advanced capabilities too. Like example, as I said, if the data is very clear, you can create the semantic model and then proceed for the further activities for the report building. But that is not our current task. What I will do, the data is already loaded, right? Let me navigate back to my lakehouse. Make sure that whenever you are working on the fabric related topics, on the vertical side, the icon should be get it remember. So this is the lakehouse related, the current one, which is having some layer, right? You can see this. And this is the SQL Analytics endpoint. And these are the earlier I have created. Let me remove it. Okay, so make sure that these icons is very helpful to track the which level or else which layer we are at. Is that a lake house, or we are in the data warehouse creation, or you are in the semantic level, or real-time intelligence. Also, you can see the event stream, event house related icons. Okay, please make sure that this vertical plane is very, very important. Currently, this is the window for the SQL Analytics endpoint. Let me navigate back to my LH. That is the lake house. Okay, fine. What I will do in the sense from here, I will create a warehouse. Okay, this particular data, whatever it is available with this column, sales order number, line, order date, and so on. I will create some subtables by using this sales table. Okay, I'm going to create some new tables. Okay, before that, I'm going to create a schema with a lake house. Okay, how I'm going to do these are all activities in the data warehouse. We will see now. Let me navigate back to my workspace, MHMFUG, data warehouse workspace, go back. New items, make sure that identify the right workload. Okay, there is a sample data warehouse. If you want to play with some sample stuff, okay, already the tables will be get it visible to you. All items. What I will do in this is in my real-time stuff or activities, I will search here. Maybe I want to build with the data warehouse miss, I will search, or else maybe if it is a real-time stuff, like I want to work with the event house creation, I will search here, event house, something like this. It's easy for you. Okay, instead of using this vertical scroller and so on. Give me a minute. Data warehouse. If you can click on this data warehouse, you can see multiple options here. See here, sample warehouse, which is having some sample files have been get it loaded. And this is what we are going to create from the source, right? From the lakehouse, we are going to import some data and create some new tables. Let's try to create the warehouse now. Giving the name here, warehouse name, sales warehouse. Any questions up to this part? Few minutes, I'm going to take it. Okay, I will showcase to you. No issues, right? If you can take 10 minutes additional.
Yeah, sure.
10
You can
minutes
take
only.
additional.
Okay.
Yep.
See here, as I said earlier, you can also, if there is any existing warehouses, you can also import these warehouses by using this Explorer. Okay. Same for the lake house also. If there is any existing lake houses, you can call the existing lake houses too. Lake houses too by using this add lake houses. If you already created, these are all avoid to avoid the data duplications. Okay. Maybe if there is any another workspaces has been created for your project, instead of again re-importing and doing the scratch development, we can use this. If you have a necessary permissions, that one also you have to keep in mind. If you have a necessary permissions, you can import those tables and then pull it over for your project build. Okay, let me showcase to you. This looks, this is the framework, this is the front end view. Once you have created the warehouse, on the left hand side, schemas by default, as I said, DBO schema, or it will be get support all activities as per the T-SQL statement, okay, which we are familiar, right? We can write the statements, we can delete it, we can all DDL, DML, all activities will be get it added here. We can perform here. So maybe if you want to create your own schema also, like example, sales schema, I want to get it created, or else maybe staging schema, I want to get it created. We can create it a dedicated schemas too by using, see here, by using new SQL query. Okay, maybe if you want to import it as a framework is supporting, you can also import it from the copy jobs and so on. Another way of extractions. Okay, directly also you can import it. Fine. What I will do in this is, as I said, I have already framed some of your queries. I will explain it. Okay, to create the fact and dimension tables so that we will use this existing sales data to this fact table insertion. So see here, I'm trying to create a schema name called sales. Okay. And CTEs command I'm using, create table sales.fact. Sales is my schema name, fact table with these columns. Okay. Customer ID and so on. I'm creating. And then see here, I'm just trying to add one more table, separate table, one more table by using the same schema, sales dot dimension customer with these three columns, like that, one more dimension items with item ID and the item name. Let's try to create it. Okay, this particular copy paste it. Suppose as per the license, right? As I said, even you can make use of Copilot as well, separate specific license here. And if there is any errors, right, like a query level errors, it will also get it fixed. So that you can also, I mean, like we will write these queries earlier, but with the help of Copilot or maybe with the help of other AI tools, we can easily get it add without any errors. We can add it, we can create, we can insert the data too, like a cloud is there, chart GPTs and so on. So let me execute it. So we are trying to create with this schema three tables. One is fact sales, customer table, and dimension items. Okay, let me create it. You can see the execution commands at the below, right? And this is the separate schema which I have been created as same like a DBO, table view function store story processor. You can see tables. These are the three tables. blank tables, okay, no information. Once you can select the blank tables, dimension, customer, item, or fact table, you can see no data is there. So what our main motto here with the available data, which is from the lakehouse, I want to get it loaded via this warehouse by using the T-SQL commands. Currently no data for the dimension customer, item is also blank, sales is also blank information. You can also execute if you want to check, like a select a top 100 records and so on. Currently there is no data, that's what I said. And if you want to clone it, this existing table to that some another schemas, right? Like most of the times in the real-time fashion, we will use the enterprise level data warehouse, one more schema for the historical data to maintain to satisfy this SCD type 2 analysis, staging layer, EDW and so on. But as of now, I'm not doing this cloning table from existing to the another schema part. So these are the columns. You can see these are all the column information and so on, constraint, permissions, levels, and so on. So fine, what I will do now. So tables are available with blank, no records, 0 records, 8 columns are each one. I mean, each and every table have a different number of columns. Let's try to load this data via the existing lakehouse to this dimension, customer, items, and so on. Before doing that activity, what I will do, I'm going to create a view now, virtual, sorry, recording. So see here, what I'm currently doing. From the lakehouse, already sales table is available. I'm creating a staging schema like this. Sales dot is a view. Okay, create view virtual table here. From this table, so as I said in my presentation too, lakehouse name should be added here. That lakehouse name, DBO is the existing schema. Sales, maybe if your table is derived in the form of a sales dot staging, right? It will work. Otherwise, you have to change the table name as well. Let me copy this. So what we will do in the sense, please observe here, even the executed query on this SQL query one, you can save this query for the future use cases. How can you save it? See here, right click, rename it. So this particular new queries, we can use it for the further activities too. Like this, as I said, other my queries, it will be get a store, or maybe you can reuse it for the future prospect as well. So I'm going to rename it in the form of create table. That's what we did now, create table. It will be visible to you here. Okay, my queries part, it is going to be visible to you. Okay, so is that created? Let me check. Yeah, taking some time. Let me remove these blank tables. No data here if you're observing. So what I'm going to do now, so let me take one more new query, new SQL query. I'm going to create a schema, right? Schema, one more with the view name called staging underscore sales. That is the view which is going to appear in my sales schema view. Let's try to execute it. So if you can directly copy paste and execute, I'm going to get an error because I haven't provided a dedicated lakehouse name where the data has to be get it first from the managed. That's what I said, right? Managed file. See here, this is the managed sales table. We have to provide the exact naming standard on your lakehouse whenever if you are using and creating the this particular, let me give the name as sales dot staging only. Lakehouse name is, give the exact name, remove the brackets there, LH sales. And table name is sales table. This is the name I have provided. That's what I'm reading. See here, LH scales, LH sales, LH sales, sales table. Naming is also completely different, sales table, but I have given capital T. Make sure that that is also accurately. I have to provide the naming standard. Sales table. Okay. Now execute it. Execute. What happened? Sales table.
So I guess the S is also small.
Yes, sorry. Yeah. Thank you. You can see the view here. Once it is executed, now it is already executed. Let me refresh it. Sometimes, right, if it is taking some much time, as I'm currently using the lower capacity F2, you can just try to refresh it here, or you can also refresh it at each and every schema part also. Okay, please do that. I mean, if it is not appearing very instantly. So now it is up here. If you can click on the staging underscore sales, which is a view, you can see that 32,718 records, 9 columns at what time and so on. And very important thing, as I said, right? If you want to monitor your executed queries, if there is any long running queries, you can make use of this monitoring as well. So long running queries or last previous queries, historical queries, this thing will be very helpful to you to track and to make sure that to split, or else you can do some optimizations for some activities on the top of it. Okay, so just keep an eye on this monitoring part also. But our main motto, what is our main motto? Currently the data is available on the view now. I want to get it load onto this tables. So what I will do, I'll just, as I said, I have framed some other queries to load the data. If you want, I will share these queries also to you. You can execute one by one. That is my suggestion, because you have to understand what we are loading, right? Or if you are aware what we are executing or what we are currently doing, you can also execute all the statements in one single go. So I'm executing one by one. For my reference, remove this. Sometimes you will get a question, can I execute here itself? Yes, you can do it. You can remove it. You can copy paste the new queries too. But what activities on the query level, like a creation or views part, if you can save it, it will be easy for you to track the changes on your data warehouse. That is my suggestible idea. So you can take it if you just copy paste it, execute. What I'm currently doing also we'll discuss there. 1 second. Let me execute all 3 statements at a time. Okay, 3 means 3 commands at a time, because I will help you to understand this part. Please observe what I'm currently doing. After loading the data, right, from staging underscore sales, I'm trying to use the CTEs commands, inserting the data from the sales dimension, which is already available, sales, with some records, okay, from this particular timestamp. Okay, I'm taking the timestamp also. On the next table, items table, we already created items, dim underscore items table. From this table, sales dot staging underscore sales dot, we are trying to load some more records here, few more records. And last table, fact related stuff, I'm trying to load. These are all by taking the reference of this table only. No more any additional or some information I'm doing, which is already available in my lakehouse, like units, tax price, unit quantity, items, and so on. I'm trying to define from the existing sales table only, which is already available in my backend lakehouse and internally within the lake warehouse in the staging level, right here. So let me execute it, run it. It's executed. It will take some time, okay, to get it visible, the data. Currently, if you're clicking on this each and every table, it showcases the 0 number of records, but it will take some time to incorporate and load the information into your dedicated tables, customer, items, and sales. Any questions up to this part? Any questions?
Just one question from my side, Rajendra. So this view, these T-SQL commands, as I know, this can also be executed from SSMS, right? So
Yes,
we can
yes, we
directly
can.
open it from
Yeah, yeah,
this.
yeah. You can here. You can have an option like this. Download SQL database project. You can add it, and from SSMS also you can directly execute it. You can add those two. Okay, even whatever the tables currently in this warehouse it is available, you can configure. It is going to generate an API. From there you can connect to the SSMS package too. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And I see the
Here.
button for add to data agent. So from add
Yes.
to data agent, I can add specific tables, or all the tables in the schema get added to the data
Specific
agent here.
tables. It will be get it
Okay.
added everything, but it will get it added everything. But if you want to see some data agent level example, I want to see some insights related to the dimension customer. You have to select it and then you can write your natural language queries and you can see the prompts accordingly. Yeah. It will be automatically comes all the tables, but from there you have to manually select which table you want. Maybe 2 tables. I want to see some natural queries and see some outputs, right? Summary or else some aggregation methodology. We have to select it and then write the queries like the reports.
Okay.
Okay, here. And if you want to open it, here it is. You can also download the SQL database project, or else maybe if you want to configure with your SSMS, you can make use of it too. Let me refresh it. Any other queries, please? And from here also, so Rajendra, from here, how can you take it forward to the Power BI? So as I mentioned, from here also, if the data, once the data has been structured and it is ready to move on to the business insights, real-time insights, you can create a semantic model from here, okay, with the required tables. And from there, you can map it, you can build the relationship, you can start doing the data visualization from the semantic model level. Okay, that part also, we will do it from here, or from the raw data itself. If you want to build the semantic model, it is already appear here too. Okay, it is up to you. Okay, how we are going to take it from this particular mode, this particular item to the Power BI. Or maybe I want to do some more advanced statistical analysis, like I want to build for some machine learning models, means we can also make use of new Spark SQL queries, which will be get it open as a notebook. And from there, we can do some advanced statistical machine learning models too for the data ingestions, or maybe if you want to write some more Spark related jobs too. Okay, it's up to business related activities. Taking time. 1 second. Let me refresh it. One simple table. If it is visible, we'll execute few more queries and it's it. Wait for some time. That's what I said. So don't instantly add one more creation of the tables or else re-execute it. It's going to be a double. Okay, please make sure that wait for some time so that the data will be get visible. Suppose if there is any error, automatically down itself you can see whatever the error we are projecting for each and every tables part. Yeah, see here, this is staging. Let me check it. Still data not there. Okay, before that, I will execute. I will try to check it. One more command. These are the commands. Maybe if you want to select simple statement and select star from table name, you can also execute it. I'm not going to execute each and every. Directly, you can prompt it here. Like if you want to check the data is available or not, or just try to select the table so that you can see the number of records if it is visible to you. Okay, here. Or set query. See here, prompt is there. Make sure that use these prompts. Okay, select of items from items table is there. DBO is nothing. Sales is the schema that we created. Dot, you can use it anywhere. This is small table, that's why I'm executing. Let's see. 0 records only. Okay. What I will do in this is let me execute some more statistical queries. So statistical queries in the sense on the top of it. If you want to create or if you want to even newly create some tables, we can create it subtables too. But currently I'm going to execute some of the statistical queries with some aggregations as I mentioned. Let me execute customer name wise. I want to see some analysis. If the data is available, it will be get listed. If not, you can see blank information. Not it. Not it. 1 second. I don't want to take much time. So let me check some another workspace, how it looks like, because it's taking some time for me. Give me a time. Let me showcase to you this. Yeah, how it looks like means once you select those tables, some testing has been done from my end. Second, it looks in this way. See here, the tables with the data will be visible to you. Dimension customer, you can see the records. On the top of it, you can fire it. Okay, dimension items. These are the records. Currently, it is showcasing blank for me because it will take some time to get it visible. Okay. Fact table, which is going to be big table, 57 number of records. Right. So on the top of it, you can execute. I can see the data for item wise. New query you can use. Item wise. like this. Okay. From this, as I said, you can use the CTEs commands. Okay, you can create as a subtable, and you can also showcase an ad hoc report analysis via. You have to select it before. You have to select it. You can also create and visualize it via Power BI layer. It will be open a ad hoc, a quick Power BI layer from here, and you can share this report analysis to the global audience. Okay, if you want to quickly analyze it and you want to share this information like this, query S2, maybe you can rename it something like this. Okay. So with these two columns, some visualizations will be get it visible, available. My capacity have some issues. Sorry for that. Fine. Visualizations part. This is how we will keep on changes on the backend part and the data, right? From the data warehouse. You can make use of Medellin architecture as per the business requirement, maintain the consistency. With the staging is for the current data. Historical, if you are trying to maintain, you can also create a new schema like EDW schema and so on. And for the report building, from there you can take it forward and create some semantic models based on that. I mean, existing tables, and proceed further for the Power BI layer. That's what we will do it further. Fine. And I'm done with this. And if you have any queries, concerns, let me know. And if your queries, if there is any valid queries, I'm happy to help you. And regarding this presentation, I will share it with Praful so that the form of PDF so that you can share it, or else maybe I will add it in my GitHub so you can take it from there. So make sure that this is important, auditing and monitoring the T-SQL. So where it is already available. Here it's a monitoring part. You can check the faster execution, slower part. If there is any slower queries, okay, slowing your queries and long running queries, you can just try to cross verify here. By selecting, you can even see the more detailed information. Okay, fine. Thanks for joining this. Thank you so much, Praful, for giving this opportunity to speak at your group. And
Yeah.
looking forward for more such opportunities. Yeah.
Yeah, just a couple of questions if others don't have it, so I'll just give a minute. So anyone
I'm
else
stopping.
has any question?
Yep. One question to Rajendra. So, do we
So,
see any a migration approach to one maybe one workspace to another workspace? If you can give some brief idea, right? So, I think like Lakehouse cannot be migrated from one way
Lakehouse not no.
workspace.
From Lakehouse we can copy it. That's it. That is what we will do.
Okay.
Maybe if we are creating the Lakehouses in some different workspaces, if you want the data, similar kind of data, we can copy the data to your new workspaces. New Lakehouse we can create like that. It is
Okay. But what
workspace
about
copy.
pipelines?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
please
please
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Workspace copy means there is no other options, right? I mean, other than the dedicated workspaces that we are creating. So we can we can create some internally folders inside the workspace. There is no other copy kind of move kind of a workspace one to another once we created a workspaces.
And same thing happens like for
For
pipelines as
pipeline too,
well, right?
pipelines too. Yes, yes. The movable
But
is
only
possible.
Power BI objects we can migrate, right, from one
Yes,
workspace to
exactly.
another one.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So do we see any DevOps kind of activities to do
It
such?
is there.
I mean, when we
Yeah.
okay.
It is. I'm currently exploring this DevOps part too. So as I said, if
Mhm.
there is an workspace is already available in my development part earlier, right? I mean, 3 years, 4 years
Mhm.
back, we will create a dedicated workspace for development, testing, and production. Now, with the help of this
Okay.
deployment pipeline, we will create one particular development. I mean, like we will follow SDLC pipelines, right? Like development for one dedicated set of items, right? From here, we will deploy to
Mhm.
the testing, and from here to the global audience for the production related. Like that, we will sync it up each and every time, right? We will sync,
Mhm.
we will use a sync mechanism, whatever the changes that are there in the development to the testing to the production, and then we will take it forward to the I mean, DevOps
Okay.
related activities. Automatically, it will be get it triggered to your backend if you're using the DevOps mechanism, CI/CD pipelines. Okay. Even there is a new feature you can turn on this. This is how it looks like.
Yeah, this is
Hope it
really
is.
helpful.
Yeah. And maybe we will do a lot of changes and we will provide some permissions to other users too. If you want to keep the track to changes, with this we can keep the track the changes. Currently, this is my development stuff. I don't have anything here to observe whatever. It will be get it listed in the form of our names. If I'm doing my changes with my name, these are the changes. These are the items that has been done by this person at this time. Like this, it will be get it tracked. Hope it is helpful. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, we
Yes.
have a question. Okay, Manoj, you can continue. Yeah.
Any other? Yeah, please.
Yeah. So there is a question in the
No,
chat.
Praful, you go ahead, please.
Yeah. So there's a question in the chat that do we need to configure a separate logging setup to monitor CTAs or insert select, or the monitoring setup tracks every transaction?
Every transaction it is tracking, right? If you're observing whatever my colleague's transaction also, it is available there. Like that it is. Maybe if you want to create the folder, I don't think there is a folder options to get it. I mean, separate individual user kind of an transaction, or else historical logs that will be tracked. But maybe in future we will expect, or else we can share it as a form of an idea to the community.
Okay. And
But
this
currently everything is visible now. Whatever my colleagues is doing the changes, we can track it and observe the queries and so on. That is there
Okay.
currently.
Okay. And the monitor tab that you were showing, it is different than the monitoring hub, which we have it in Fabric, right? Monitoring
That
hub
is
is,
different, right? That
yeah.
is complete Fabric related monitoring.
Okay.
But this monitor is, see here, you're talking about this one, I think so. 1 second. This is admin monitoring. This is completely different about all your complete workspace part. You will create a variety of items, right? This monitoring is different, but this particular data warehouse monitoring is something for your to track your queries. Okay, insert. These are all the commands. We can observe it by using this. This is different.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
A couple of questions from my side. So if I want to set up a Fabric SQL warehouse, or if I have an option of setting an on-prem SQL warehouse, so traditionally this is the challenge that lot of new organizations set up. There they have a lot of Excel sheets. Now they are thinking of migrating to a SQL server. So they have two options where they can either set up an on-prem SQL server, buy that and set it up, and they can set up a Fabric warehouse. So what advantage do you see in setting up a Fabric warehouse as compared to an on-SQL premise?
For me, I'm also facing the similar kind of a problem. Currently, right? My on-premises services, everything is available there. I want to move everything to the cloud. That is one of my requirement, which I have received from a customer. So moving or setting up this Fabric warehouse, it is very easy, and as well as we will track the changes. That's what I just showcased to you. Whatever these are the operations are not visible to me in existing or else on-premises warehousing. So for me, I feel like it is a more comfortable, but challenges are there, like a permissions part. Whenever, if for everything we need a complete permissions if you want to use the Fabric warehouses. So permissions part, I felt like a little bit discomfort, but this is advantage compared with the on-premises warehouse setting and processing level. Yeah.
Okay, and the last question, and if anyone else has, they can ask.
Any
So how do
questions?
we set
Yes.
up? Yeah, how do we set up this, Rajendra? So I am a Power BI developer. I have a Fabric SQL warehouse also. So if I want to set this up from an architectural perspective, should I set up a warehouse and my Power BI reports in the same workspace, or they should reside in two different workspaces?
My suggestion is I can reside in the two different workspaces. I don't want to combine both of it. So for warehousing part, that is what my current architecture flow is defined. Separately, we have a separate workspace for warehouse building. And from there, we will try to call for the Power BI reporting layer. Still, I don't want to combine Power BI reports inside of the warehouse related. So we are following the separate methodology from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Anyone else has any questions
Any other
before we close this
questions?
sessions? Okay, I think we don't have it. So, Rajendra, if you want, you can drop off. Thank you so much for your session.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
others, yeah.
Thank you,
So
Mr.
people,
Rajan. Thank you. Appreciate you always.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
The
so
best
much.
explanation you
Thank
have given. Thank you. Appreciate
yeah, thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.